Happy Friday. You might not be watching this on a Friday. You might be watching this later, but oh yay. Okay, let's see.
Hi.
Hi. Oh my gosh, that was so quick. How are you?
Hi. I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. All right, I'm gonna set my phone down.
I know, I'm like, where can I set it so you guys can still see me, but be, because I talk with my hands all the time.
Same. I'm like,
You have to be
I
able to
don't
do
wanna.
this.
Yeah. You know, what is life if we can't, have movement with our speech?
Right. There's got to be the European background in love that we have. It's like you have to talk with your hands.
1000%. People that don't talk with their hands, I don't know what's up.
I don't know. How do you stand still?
Yeah, just in general, how do you be still?
No clue.
Oh my gosh. All right. Well, you guys, here is Miss Heather.
Hi.
A quick little background, real quick too, is, sorry, I just totally weaved into that.
Go for it.
You guys, we were just talking about right before we hopped on here how nervous we get with live. So here's the nervous part. It gets better.
Mm-hmm.
But
it gets better.
Yeah, so Heather and I met a couple years ago at one of Karamia's content shoots in Salt Lake City and just instantly bonded. And we had so much fun. We just adventured around the salt flats.
Yeah.
Froze our tail
It was the day.
off.
It was the day before the shoot, and we were like, "We're here. Let's go to the salt flats. Let's just go." We'd never met, but we did it.
Yeah, we never met. She just hopped in my rental car, and we just drove 2 hours through the salt flats.
Yeah.
Put on. I rented like a cute kind of bridal dress, and we just each took turns wearing it, running around in the water.
Fun. I remember you wanting to go as fast as you possibly could because there's no speed limits out there. So you're like, it's a rental car. Why the F not? And you just gunned it.
I did. So I love speed, y'all. I'm a speed demon, okay? There's no doubt about it. And I was in a brand new, stunning, I don't remember if it was a Mazda or what.
It was
whatever. It was literally the car
and it was fun to drive.
Yeah, it was black. It was beautiful. And it was leather. And it was whatever car is that zoom. And I was like, well, we're about to go zoom.
We're going to go zoom. But those salt flats, they're like speed bumps. At least I wasn't expecting it. And it's like, it is not a smooth drive.
No, it wasn't. It could have been better, but it was still crazy fun though. Hopefully
fun.
you probably have been thinking back.
So much fun.
God.
When I first met you, I texted my husband. I'm like, this is who I'm getting in the car with. This is where I'm supposed to be going. If I don't text you by 1 a.m., there's a problem.
Yeah, send a search party. Oh my gosh,
send a search
so
party.
funny.
Anyway, I'm so glad that we met and we had so much fun.
I am too. Yeah, I love how creativity just brings artists together. And so you guys, Heather lives just up north of me in Idaho.
Yep.
And so she is really close to Yellowstone. Mm-hmm. And so if you're looking for an Idaho photographer, I think you're up close by Coeur d'Alene, right?
I am. So Coeur d'Alene's 90 minutes from where I live.
So beautiful. If you don't know that area,
pretty.
Look it up.
We got lakes.
Yeah.
So we got mountains. We got the PNW
Everything.
without the PNW,
Yeah. Nice. Yeah, it's so beautiful up there. I always watch your stories and love it. So, but yeah, so give me a little bit of background. When did you get into photography? I know that you're a fellow book lover, conservationist. You're also a Leave No Trace photographer, which I really respect because we have bonded on so much about photographers that don't get the correct permits, just
leave
do things illegally.
Trash, do whatever they want. Yeah.
Oh, it's so terrible. It's so terrible. So
So I'm based in North Idaho, grew up in Southern Idaho. The state is stunning. I started photography back in 2014, made the switch into the wedding world in 2017. And by 2018, I was neck deep in elopements and just fell in love with it. But the first time I went to Yellowstone was actually when I was 7. And my mom bought me, I still have it to this day and I can still wear it because she bought me this Yellowstone long sleeve, but it was so big. It was like a nightgown on me as a child. Now I wear it as an adult and it's super comfy because it's really broken in now all these years later. But I just remember falling in love with the morning glory pool. There were certain spots that really stuck out to me. And so this park just is really special to me. And to be able to work with the park now on such an intimate level, both like professionally with my couples, but also professionally with the rangers and stuff, so that we have that relationship. It's really special and I love it. So
I love
yeah.
it too. I love that you know, that's something to, so obviously I work a lot in Grand Teton National Park, and regulations are very different there. Each, for those of you that don't know, like each national park has different regulations, permits, so forth. And that's one thing, like people are so, especially other photographers, they have been so rude to the staff and just disrespectful. So that is definitely a great question to ask your photographer. Make sure that they communicate with the staff at the national park. Make sure that they're friends, that they reach out, they like see what they can do to help, and really be aware of wildlife and conservation and leave no trace and everything, because you want to be able to support that.
It's like every single park, like you said, has different rules, and so if I'm unaware about a certain park, I'll reach out. Or if I think I know, the rules change every year because something happened that year, and so they have to like pivot and change something so that it works. So it's good to have someone who knows the area, who knows the rules and regulations, so you as a couple, you're not going in going, I don't know.
And that, and even, you know, you got to kind of watch out for that with national park or national forest now too,
and
just because it's getting so busy everywhere. And state park's another big thing. So anytime that you're on national land, whether that's national forest, national park, state land, definitely just be aware of permits and, you know, things like that. And you know, ask your vendors, because they should hopefully know.
They should know.
Yeah, they should know. Yeah. Okay, so let's dive in specifically to Yellowstone. So you are registered. And so real quick backstory. One of the reasons why I'm doing this with Heather is because I don't photograph in Yellowstone, and I'm just not interested in that. So I have my little area. I love it. I don't want to expand out of it much. Unless it's like Europe or Mexico. But Heather is my number one person. Sorry, I'm like grabbing my dog here.
Remember the hands. We have to talk with the hands.
Oh my God. So anytime I have a couple that inquires for Yellowstone, you know, it's one of those things, a lot of people think that Jackson Hole is Yellowstone. And so, you know, it's not. It's Grand Teton National Park. It's very close. But Yellowstone actually is in Idaho, Montana, and Wyoming.
It's a massive park. It's huge.
And it's so cool with like their geological, I mean, the features in that park are just so unique and, you know, iconic, which is like anytime that I travel around the world, people think sometimes when I say Wyoming, they think I'm saying Miami. And I'm like, no, Yellowstone. And they'll be like, oh, Yellowstone. So, you know, people come from literally all over the world. But so I love being able to send my couples or inquiries to you for couples that really truly want that Yellowstone National Park, because it's so iconic. So so let's dive in a little bit more to, obviously, so what I think too, it's become more popular because of Yellowstone, the TV show.
Which neither of us have watched.
Neither of us have watched it. So y'all let us know about Yellowstone, the TV show. But
I did a poll this week. I was like, is it worth getting another streaming device? And I had like mixed reviews the whole way across. So I still don't know if I'm supposed to watch it. But I've heard that they do have really good horse trainers, and their writers or actors that write are actually really good.
Obviously, I know a lot of cowboys and I know a lot of horse trainers. So I've heard that. So that makes me want to watch it, but I don't really like scary or drama or I don't know. I don't know if I'd get into it.
We're both Emily in Paris fans. So
I need a good solid romance and no fear. I don't want any fear-based things.
Right. Same.
But our clients can just, you know, we'll just live vicariously through them.
They can
live
through that. So
okay, so let's quick chat a little bit about, you told us a little bit about your background with Yellowstone. Would you share a few of your favorite spots to take couples? Like, do you have a location that's more requested than others where couples inquire?
So first off, if anyone ever asks me, can we go to Old Faithful? Can we go to Grand Prismatic? It's a hard no, from me. The amount of people that are there is just unreal. And you're going to spend so much time waiting to even go to the spot, to find parking, to get to it. You're just going to be eating up your time. Plus, it's not enjoyable when you've got hundreds of people surrounding you, watching you try to take bridal photos. So I have my list so that I don't just go on forever. I love Mammoth Hot Springs. It's really unworldly. It's very different than some other places you find in the park. But it's a really nice spot because of where it's situated right by the Montana border. Not a lot of people go up there. And so that whole area, even if you're like, Mammoth doesn't seem like my vibe, there's so many spots around it where there's not as many tourists, and I loved it so much. Also, if you're like down for a hike, Osprey Falls is one of my personal favorites. It's so pretty. And then also if you want to go to like Artist Point or Uncle Tom's Trail, it gives you like the best view of the Yellowstone Falls and the Yellowstone Canyon.
Yeah. Oh, I love that.
So
I love Mammoth Hot Springs too. I'm glad that you brought that up because that's like one of my favorite little spots. Actually, my very first, I took Morgan, my daughter, on just like a fun road trip for one of our, like, it was probably our very first like legit family vacation.
Yeah.
And we just went camping and hiking around Yellowstone all over for a week. Like we just,
That's
you know, where we left, we just
amazing.
went up and did like this fun little circle. And
Yeah.
whenever we went through Mammoth, it was so fun. So
It's really, really unique and pretty up there. And not a ton of people. I finally got to photograph a couple there this last May before the flooding came through. And then they shut the entire, that part of the park down for the rest of the year. But it's supposed to come back this spring. They are supposed to have the road done by May. So
fingers crossed. Exciting, man. We've gotten so much snow this year, so hopefully
you've got a winter
that'll work out.
wonderland happening over there.
It's been nonstop. So I'm kind of curious to see how many delayed road openings we'll have. So, but you never know. It could warm up.
You never know.
Quick.
It can.
Yeah. Okay, so we talked about a couple of your favorite spots. I love that. Whenever clients reach out to you, do you prefer that they maybe be kind of open and up for some suggestions? Like, what's your process like for that too? Because again, sorry, I got to get up and move for a second. So just like any tips too for couples thinking about. And actually, I guess that was one of my next questions to get into. But 3 tips for couples getting married in Yellowstone or wanting to get married. Like, what do you recommend in that sense?
So, tips, just like really quick tips, is hire professionals who know the area. Your photographer should know what permits they need. They should know what parts of the park they're allowed to go to and not go to. Your florist should know what flowers aren't allowed because they're an invasive species. Any professional that you hire for that area should just know it because it's going to make your life so much easier, especially with the planning process. Wear boots, not heels. Sorel and so many other companies now make really, really cute boots. I've had one couple try to pull heels off with me, and Yellowstone has very iconic boardwalks literally everywhere, so you don't step on hot spots and turn into dust essentially, and the heels get stuck in it and it doesn't work. So wear boots, wear good footwear, and then finally get away from the tourist trap areas. Go to Old Faithful, go to Grand Prismatic, just not on your wedding day. They are fun, they are beautiful, but it's not worth eating into your wedding time, your photography time, your wedding day. It's not worth it. Plus the amount of people who are going to be like, congratulations, eventually it gets old. So just get away from it and pick places that are less populated with tourists.
Yeah. I love that. That's great advice. It is such a vast park. There's just so many beautiful geological features. So, and you know, you do have to, it's very similar to Grand Teton in that there is wildlife. There's lots of traffic if there is wildlife, and
pretty much every road. Every road speed limit pretty much is 35, the majority of the park. Even though it's massive and you've got this big wide open space, you are not going faster than 35. A, it's the speed limit, but B, you've got bison who just like to park it in the middle of the road. So if you come around the corner and you're going faster than 35, your car's totaled. And that's kind of the kink in a wedding day.
Yeah, definitely kink in the wedding day. We definitely want to be, actually one of my upcoming posts I have is just about travel, tips and stuff. And it's the same in Grand Teton National Park. Like, we have so many people that hit wildlife, and it's just devastating. It's just not okay. So you really want to be respectful of your time. You got nowhere to go,
nowhere to go
except for get married and enjoy the day, enjoy the atmosphere around you.
You chose to elope for a reason. So embrace that slower pace.
Yeah. So, and with Yellowstone, do you have, intimate weddings have grown over the last couple of years too. Yeah. Do you have couples that want to do I don't even know if it's allowed, that can couples do a small ceremony with like some family and friends and then leave for the reception? Do you like doing that? I've
seen kind of every combination, which is great. I love that it's so, that's the beauty of intimate weddings and elopements, is you can customize it so much. A lot of couples love to have their ceremony either within the park or at their VRBO or Airbnb that they've picked out. And then we do bridal photos around the park. And then usually they have like a reception dinner. If it's an intimate wedding, they have a reception dinner back at their VRBO or Airbnb, wherever they're at. I've never seen more than 5 or 6 guests come along for the ceremony. Yellowstone has some specific areas, like it doesn't have to be that specific coordinates, but they've got like some areas that they want your ceremony to be in. We can go anywhere for your bridal photos, but for your ceremony, I don't know how Grand Teton is, but Yellowstone has very specific spots that they allow ceremonies to actually happen. So, and I'm ordained because the majority of people don't have anyone to officiate their wedding. So after so many elopements being like, I don't know who's going to officiate us, I just did it just so I can just sign the pretty paper for them.
Yeah. Oh, nice. No, that's fabulous. So in Grand Teton National Park, we do have, you do have to have a very specific permit for a location if you have, I think over 12 people. And, certain locations like Schwabackers, Mormon Row, those are very location-specific permits. So I think there's 5 or 6 locations you have to have a permit for, regardless of party size. If you are able to do less than 12, then you are able to do a small dispersed permit. And then you can choose some other locations and do some hikes and things like that. So there's a couple different ways to do permits there. And then same thing, after the ceremony for like sunset photos, you can kind of go anywhere except for like Jenny Lake. They don't allow photos around Jenny Lake just because, again, like so many photographers were going there with their couples and they just destroyed it, and they would leave their trash and it's just devastating. And so whenever people abuse regulations and abuse our lands, like you have to limit use, and people have to suffer the consequences,
especially after 2020, when everyone was like, oh, we have national parks and it's an outdoor place that we can spend time in. It got so overpopulated for a while there that they had to do something.
That's essentially after 2020 was whenever they removed Jenny Lake. I think it's Jenny Lake and String Lake, and it might just be, I think there's a couple of other locations too. I don't remember off the top of my head, but Jenny Lake is a very, like, couples request that all the time, and so I have to say no, we can't do that, but I have some alternatives, and they're just stunning. So but hopefully people will be be a little bit more aware, and couples, as you're planning a wedding, just kind of keep in mind, websites, it's super easy to get access, but you can't bring floral arches in, and you can't throw flower petals or bird seed,
you can't pop champagne.
So in Grand Teton you can do that, but obviously if you're going to do that, you have to make sure that you're not spilling it. So when there, it attracts wildlife, and you have to make sure to pick up your cork. Kind of more fun to like shotgun a beer, take a shot.
I always tell people, they want to do the spray in the park, we do bubbly water. It does the exact same thing, but it doesn't have the sticky sweet mess. We just shake you shake the bottle, and it does the exact same thing.
No, that's great. I love that. There you go, couples. There's a great tip for you. I think it's really fun. Champagne, everybody does like champagne, but like there's some great alternatives out there.
It really is.
And let's see, what else was I going to tap into there? I feel like I forgot it. Okay, give me a second. Maybe what was it? Oh my gosh.
I hate that so much.
It's lost. It's lost for eternity. Yeah. So essentially couples getting married, I definitely think, Heather gave you some really great tips for locations, things to be
Yeah.
aware of, like traffic, wildlife, tourists. That is something, even if you have a permit, you have to be aware and respectful of tourists.
Yeah.
And it is fun because they will cheer you on and congratulate you and
Yeah.
hype you up.
It's
Like, so even though
fun.
you're eloping,
Yeah.
there's still, you
There's
still
still
have that fun part to
people.
it.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And then also, like, I don't know how the timelines are for getting into Grand Teton, but Yellowstone, like, depending on the time of year, the weather, what's going on in the park, if there's an event or something like with the
Hmm.
tribes, it could take 10 minutes to get into the park, and it can take up to 3 hours, especially if you're coming in from West Yellowstone, like the West Gate. You could wait 3 hours in your car to actually
Yeah.
get into the park. And so it's a big part of the planning process with me and my couples is which gate are you coming in? And then we plan for a time buffer so that we can get into the
Hmm.
park. Or I say, stay in the park. There's so many magical places to
Yeah.
stay within the park. I mean, there's wonderful places like Sage Lodge and Under Canvas and stuff that are outside of the
Mhm.
park, but also like inside. You have Old Faithful Inn, which is like the most historic, one of the most historic national park buildings that we still have standing.
Yeah.
So, and you can stay in it, and it's so cool. And
Yeah,
then you
no,
don't have to
it is. There.
worry about getting into the park.
No, I agree. I think that that's awesome. I always tell people whenever they're traveling up there to try to stay somewhere. I like Headwaters Cabins. It's
Yes.
right on the edge of Yellowstone,
Yeah.
with Grand Teton National Park. So it's really great because you're already in there, and
Yeah.
so you can hop up into Yellowstone, you can go down into Jackson.
Mm-hmm.
And even if you just stay there for a night or two, and then you do go stay in a city. Oh my God, my dog wants to join.
You're fine. My
Um,
dog is like at my feet begging for attention with her toy right now. So
yeah, they're like, you've been busy long enough. So, Heather, one more quick question.
yeah.
For couples that are interested in getting married in Yellowstone, with the permits, do they need to reach out to you? Like, for instance, if they want to make sure that they get a permit, do they have to reach out at least a couple months in advance?
Yeah.
Is it better to reach out like a year in advance or more just so that they can get the permits that they want? How does that work up there?
So it's no more than a year. The permits office kind of like blocks it like within a 12-month bubble. At least that's what I've seen on my end. But I tell couples, do not give yourself anything less than 4 weeks. It is very possible that you'll get it sooner, which great, you have it in your back pocket ready to go. I have my CUA permit, which I have every single year, and I uphold that every year by going to trainings and whatever else with the park. But they have to get their special use permit, which is different from your marriage license. I've had couples confused on that. They're like, wait, I have my marriage license. It's different. But yeah, no less than 4 weeks. If they want to book me, I ask a minimum of 2 months because I really like to, a big part of what I do is the planning process as
Yeah.
well. I know it sounds dorky. I call it my master maps, but I have these topographic maps of the park that I've gone every time I've gone in. I've marked locations, time, day, what was the weather like. It's got all these notes on it. And that's something that I want to provide to my couple so we can plan a timeline that's feasible because the park is so big. Like a pro of this park is it's so big. You're not like crammed in like you are at Zion. You kind of feel like you're in close quarters with everyone. So you can spread out, but then a con of it is also that it's this big park. And so you've got to plan out where you want to do photos and what's actually going to be feasible. And so I ask for at least 2 months when they book me if they want to get married in Yellowstone so we can really like get to know each other, but plan something that's really unique and special to them.
No, I love that. And that makes sense too because I do think often, some couples do. They just want to elope like a couple months prior, but if you're able to plan in advance, then it helps you with like your travel expenses and making sure that you get your rental car reservation. It helps with getting hotel rooms, getting bookings because sometimes things do book up.
Yeah, I know.
National parks
Old Faithful Inn books out like 2 years in advance. The classic yellow car that you can rent out, that book out a year in advance, and I'm so excited. I have a wedding this year in June that finally got it, so I finally get to photograph that thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, certain things within the park, even if you want to do like horseback riding or four-wheeling on one of your days off, it can book out 6 months or so in advance. So planning, if you have some bubble time, it's better.
Yeah, no, I can understand that. We've been wanting to go to Glacier National Park for several years now, and even pre-COVID, it was like you'd have to get your hotel reservations like 2 years in advance, same as like the rides and all of that. And, you know, sometimes we were just like, we're not 100% sure when we can do this, you know, so we have not done the Glacier National Park trip yet, just because you really gotta kind of plan a little bit more out in advance. But it's definitely worth it. I know I always tell that to my couples, you know, in the Jacksonville area and up into Yellowstone, that whenever they go, because sometimes what couples will do is fly to Jackson and then drive up through Yellowstone and then fly back out of Bozeman. Yeah. And I just think that's so fun. And, you know, up even just with Yellowstone, I mean, you can go over to Idaho, you know, again, you can even, I think Montana has 2 options. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I've seen several people like go to Glacier and then they come over to Yellowstone, or they go into Yellowstone and they drive over to Glacier. So it's okay.
She's being obnoxious. I can't even tell you. This dog is literally jumping on me.
Well, anyway. My dog has brought like 15 toys now at this point. She's sitting there.
I just took a laundry ball away from her. I'm just like, you're being so ornery. Well, we can go ahead and wrap up. If anybody has questions, if you're watching this after, you know, hop on over to Heather's Instagram page. You can hop onto her website, send her an inquiry. You know, if you're not really sure where you want to get married, like, or when or where, like, that's part of hiring your photographer, especially if you're doing an elopement, is that we help you find the best time of year, because the times in our area is not normal, and each month is so different. So it's really good to like kind of come with some flexibility with your date. And it's really great to come with flexibility in your location. You know, and you can usually book us like a year or 2 in advance. I don't know about you, but I'm not booking 2025 yet. I'm pushing that off, but I'm already quite a bit booked up for 2024. So the sooner you guys usually reach out, get your vendors, get your lodging, the better.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. So yeah, if there's any questions, they can reach out to me. I have multiple guides and on my blog that they can go through that helps kickstart the planning process. And then if they book with me, we just like deep dive into that. That just kind of like skims the surface, and then we deep dive, and I send a bunch of like created guides and stuff to them. That way they're 100% in the know at all times.
Yeah. So no, I love that. And that's another thing, whenever couples are looking to hire a photographer, like definitely find a photographer that has all the guides and, you know, is there throughout the planning process. Doesn't just book you and then ghost you, because it just is so relieving. Like, I try to help my couples with their activities. I've stayed at almost every hotel in the Jackson Hole area, so I can literally give my clients like the best insight of, you know, the pros and cons of each space. And you know, it's my passion. It's what I love to do. I love location scouting. I love coming up with new areas. And, you know, that's a great part of hiring a local photographer too, is that they have the recommendations. They have, you know, can give you all the community
around them that they can be like, this is the florist. These are the activities you should do for this time of year. You know, check out this restaurant, et cetera, et cetera. So
yeah, it's so great. So, well, thank you so much for joining us today. I really appreciate it. It was great having you. And you guys go check out Heather's Instagram and her website. Check out that blog, get some of those guides, and send her an inquiry.
Yeah, great. It was good seeing you, my friend.
Yeah, all right.